In today's world where science meets spirituality, a question arises. Are there deeper forces at work hidden in plain sight? The presence of the statue of Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction and transformation at CERN, Europe's most advanced scientific research center, may hold a symbolic connection to a cosmic battle that stretches back to ancient times. Could it be that humanity is being influenced by forces we barely understand? Forces seeking to tear down the protective barriers between the spiritual and physical realms in order to rebuild the world in their image? Join us as we uncover the hidden connections between Shiva at CERN, quantum mechanics, and the Seed War, a battle waged by rebellious angels who seek to deceive and corrupt humanity. In 2004, the Indian government gifted a statue of Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction and transformation, to CERN, the world's largest particle physics laboratory. This statue depicts Shiva in his form as Nataraja, the cosmic dancer whose dance brings about the destruction of the old and the creation of the new. But why is this statue prominently displayed at CERN? Could this be more than just a symbolic gesture? In Hindu cosmology, Shiva's destruction is not inherently evil, it is a necessary process for the creation of new worlds and realities. This concept, however, takes on new meaning when viewed through the lens of the Seed War, the cosmic battle between the rebellious angels led by Lucifer and the forces of God. In the ancient texts, particularly the Book of Enoch, fallen angels sought to tear down God's creation and rebuild it according to their own design. The presence of Shiva at CERN could symbolically represent an attempt to remove the barriers between our world and the spiritual realm, potentially enabling these entities to return. The Large Hadron Collider, LHC, at CERN is the most powerful particle accelerator ever built, designed to smash subatomic particles together at near-light speeds, uncovering the fundamental building blocks of the universe. But some researchers and theorists have speculated that these experiments could have unintended consequences, namely opening portals to other dimensions or realms. From a Seed War perspective, this raises significant concerns. Could the knowledge provided by fallen angels in ancient times, knowledge that led to the corruption of humanity, be resurfacing today through advanced technology and science? In the same way the Watchers in the Book of Enoch imparted forbidden knowledge to humans before the flood, modern scientific endeavors may be part of a larger strategy to tear down the veil that separates our realm from the spiritual realm, allowing these entities to once again influence humanity directly. Quantum mechanics, particularly the idea of multiple dimensions, suggests that there may be other realms beyond our own. If portals to these realms were opened, spiritual beings such as fallen angels might be able to cross over, just as they did in ancient times when they took human wives and fathered the Nephilim. Could CERN's scientific discoveries be setting the stage for the return of these entities? Shiva, as the cosmic destroyer, tears down the old to create the new. Similarly, in the Book of Enoch, the Watchers, a group of rebellious angels, descended to earth and began to corrupt humanity by introducing forbidden knowledge. They didn't just corrupt humanity's spirit, they also corrupted the genetic material of humans, animals, and plants. Their goal was to remake the world according to their own desires, creating hybrid beings and altering God's creation. In Genesis 6, we read that the sons of God came to earth and took human wives, resulting in the birth of the Nephilim, giants who were the product of these unnatural unions. Enoch provides even more detail, explaining that the Watchers taught humans forbidden arts such as astrology, warfare, and metalworking. This was all part of their strategy to rebuild the world according to their own vision. Similarly, Shiva's role as a destroyer and creator reflects this theme of tearing down the divine order to rebuild something new, something potentially darker and more corrupt. The destruction brought about by the Watchers and their hybrid offspring eventually led to the Great Flood, God's response to the widespread corruption of the pre-flood world. But could it be that these same spiritual forces are working behind the scenes today to once again corrupt and rebuild the world? Just as they did in ancient times, these entities might be using modern knowledge, particularly in quantum physics and genetics, to tear down the spiritual and physical barriers that protect humanity. In modern times, the idea of alien visitors or interdimensional beings has captivated the imagination of many, But what if these beings are not extraterrestrial visitors from distant planets, but rather fallen angels, entities that have been manipulating humanity for millennia? In ancient texts, these beings were often seen as gods or celestial beings. Today, they might masquerade as advanced, benevolent aliens offering salvation and progress, but their true goal may be far more sinister. The Seed War narrative suggests that these fallen entities, led by Lucifer, have long been working to deceive humanity, offering forbidden knowledge and promising a golden age of enlightenment. Just as they deceived humanity before the flood, today they might present themselves as interdimensional saviors, here to help us evolve into a higher state of being. But their true goal is the same: to lead humanity away from God's plan and into rebellion. The Bible warns that in the last days, even the elect could be deceived by false signs and wonders. This deception could take the form of alien disclosure or advanced beings from other dimensions offering technology, spiritual insight, or even immortality through transhumanism. These entities may be working to break down the veil between our world and theirs, opening portals that would allow them to exert even greater control over human society. At the heart of this deception lies Heylel, Lucifer, also known as the Slanderer-in-Chief. Lucifer, the leader of the rebellious angels, seeks to tear down God's divine order and rebuild the world according to his own design. He has been using deception since the beginning, promising forbidden knowledge, power, and enlightenment to humanity. The fallen angels' efforts before the flood were part of this grand strategy, and they may now be preparing for a new phase in this ancient war. The pre-flood world, corrupted by the Watchers, was seen by some as a golden age, where humans had access to advanced technology and knowledge, much of it provided by these fallen beings. This was a time when giants walked the earth and humanity was steeped in forbidden practices. Today we may be witnessing a modern push to restore this golden age through the manipulation of genetics, transhumanism, and quantum physics, all of which may be part of Lucifer's plan to rebuild the world according to his vision. Lucifer's strategy is to present himself and his followers as benevolent forces, offering humanity the chance to evolve into something greater, something godlike. But the Bible warns that this is a great deception. When Christ returns, Lucifer and his followers will attempt to deceive the world into believing that Jesus is a threat, that he's merely another alien or interdimensional being attempting to overthrow their golden age. So, how does this all tie together? The Seed War is a battle between God's divine plan for humanity and the fallen angels' attempt to corrupt that plan. The Watchers in the pre-flood world sought to corrupt humanity by altering their genetics, introducing forbidden knowledge, and spreading violence and chaos. Today, the same spiritual forces may be working through modern science, particularly quantum mechanics and genetics, to tear down the barriers that protect humanity from their influence. At CERN, the Large Hadron Collider represents a quest to uncover the deepest mysteries of the universe, but it may also symbolize an attempt to open portals to other dimensions, portals that could allow fallen angels and other spiritual entities to enter our world more freely. Shiva, the destroyer and rebuilder, may be the perfect symbol for this effort, as it represents the destruction of the old order and the creation of something new. But what is being rebuilt, and who is truly behind this rebuilding? Lucifer, as the ultimate deceiver, seeks to present himself and his followers as the saviors of humanity, offering enlightenment and salvation. But the Bible tells us that this is part of a larger deception, a deception that will culminate in the final battle between good and evil. The modern push for transhumanism, genetic manipulation, and quantum breakthroughs may all be part of this strategy to lead humanity into rebellion against God. Throughout history, the fallen Watchers, rebellious angels who defied Yahweh's divine plan, have sought to corrupt the world, not just by leading humanity astray, but by attempting to rebuild creation itself according to their own desires, their ultimate goal: to overthrow God's order and establish their own better version of reality, one that serves their interests and their leader, Lucifer. In this segment, we will explore how these entities have historically sought to alter the world's natural and spiritual order, and how they continue to influence it even today. God's divine order, as laid out in the Book of Genesis, is one of harmony between humanity and creation. Humanity was made in God's image, Genesis 1:26, given dominion over the earth and tasked with being fruitful, multiplying, and living in relationship with their Creator. This divine order is characterized by balance, physical, spiritual, and moral. But from the beginning, the fallen watchers sought to corrupt and destroy this order, paving the way for chaos, rebellion, and destruction. Their goal was to take control over creation and reshape it in their own image, making humanity subservient to their desires. Their first act of defiance began with their descent to earth, as recorded in the Book of Enoch. Led by Azazel and Semyaza, these fallen angels rebelled against God's plan by corrupting the genetic material of both humans and animals. By mating with human women, they produced the Nephilim, a race of giants who wreaked havoc on the earth. But their rebellion didn't stop with genetics. They introduced forbidden knowledge to humanity, including astrology, weaponry, and sorcery, all of which led to widespread spiritual and moral decay. In their rebellion, the Watchers sought to build back better according to their own twisted vision. Their version of a better world was one where they, rather than Yahweh, held ultimate authority. By corrupting the divine order, they attempted to elevate themselves as gods over humanity. In the pre-flood world, this manifested in several key areas: genetic manipulation. The Watchers sought to alter the fundamental building blocks of creation. By mating with human women, they introduced a race of giants, Nephilim, who dominated humanity, embodying a physical and spiritual corruption. The Bible tells us that all flesh had become corrupt, Genesis 6:12. This indicates that not only human DNA was affected, but also animals and plant life were impacted by the Watchers' influence. They aimed to change the essence of life itself, perverting the balance Yahweh had created. Forbidden knowledge. The Watchers brought secret knowledge to humans, knowledge that Yahweh had not intended for humanity at that time. This included the use of astrology, metalworking for weapons, and magic. These teachings were designed to give humanity power, but at the cost of spiritual purity and submission to Yahweh. The result was a violent, chaotic society, ripe with conflict and moral decay. Worship of false gods. The Watchers positioned themselves as gods over humanity. The ancient world was filled with stories of gods and demigods who ruled over men, demanding worship, sacrifices, and obedience. The Watchers' offspring, the Nephilim, were often worshipped as heroes or divine beings, further corrupting humanity's spiritual alignment with Yahweh. Though the Watchers were imprisoned and their initial rebellion ended with the Great Flood, their influence didn't vanish. Even after the flood, the Bible speaks of the principalities and powers that govern the unseen realms of the earth, influencing human governments, societies, and even individuals. In Ephesians 6:12, we are warned that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. These principalities and powers are believed to be the spiritual remnants of the Watchers' rebellion, entities that continue to manipulate human affairs from the shadows. The king of Tyre or the prince of Persia would be Old Testament examples of such quantum entanglement. They exert their influence through governments, religious systems, secret societies, and cultural movements, often disguising their agenda as progress or enlightenment. The promise of a better world has become their rallying cry, much like the Build Back Better slogan of today. However, their vision of a better world is one in which they control and corrupt humanity, much like they did in the pre-flood era. Examples of modern influence, cultural and religious corruption. From ancient pagan worship to modern New Age spirituality, these spiritual entities have continued to insert themselves into human belief systems. False gods, ascended masters, and even alien visitors are often nothing more than deceptive fallen angels or their progeny masquerading as benevolent beings. These entities promise salvation and spiritual ascension, but their real goal is to lead humanity away from the worship of the one true God. Political and economic systems. The influence of these principalities can also be seen in modern politics and economics. Secret societies, often accused of occult connections, may be tools of the fallen angels, working to control governments and steer human society toward a global system that serves the agenda of these rebellious beings. Many conspiracy theories about shadow governments, the Illuminati, and world elites focus on the belief that humanity is being manipulated by spiritual rulers who seek to create a one-world system, much like the pre-flood societies controlled by the Nephilim. Technological manipulation. Just as the Watchers introduced forbidden knowledge to humanity in the form of technology and sorcery, today's advancements in genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, and quantum mechanics may be part of the same ancient strategy to corrupt and control humanity. The rapid push for transhumanism, the blending of human biology with technology, could be viewed as the modern equivalent of the genetic corruption that occurred in the pre-flood world. By manipulating humanity's physical and mental state, these spiritual beings seek to create a new race, one that is further removed from God's original design. In today's world, the rebellious angels don't always appear as they once did. Instead, they masquerade as interdimensional beings, alien saviors, or spiritual guides. This deception is key to their strategy in the modern era. They offer knowledge, power, and even promises of immortality through technology. The modern New Age and alien abduction phenomena often speak of advanced beings who claim to have humanity's best interest at heart. But in reality, these may be the same fallen angels who corrupted the world before the flood. The Bible warns us that Satan masquerades as an angel of light. 2 Corinthians 11:14. These beings may present themselves as benevolent, claiming to come from other dimensions or planets, but their true agenda is to continue the seed war, corrupting humanity and leading them away from God. Their ultimate deception may be to convince the world that when Christ returns, he is nothing more than another extraterrestrial being, a threat to the false golden age they have established on Earth. Throughout history, the fallen watchers have sought to tear down God's divine order and build it back according to their own desires. They corrupted the world before the flood, and today, through principalities, powers, and technological manipulation, they continue to influence humanity. Their goal is to deceive mankind into embracing their vision for the future, one that ultimately leads to rebellion against God. But as the Bible tells us, in the end, Christ will return to defeat these rebellious forces and restore God's perfect order. The question is, will we recognize the deception before it's too late?